So I was watching a video today by a guy called, I can't remember what, Vauxhall 007, Paul is called, guy from Wales, nice guy. And he was just having a little bit of a ramble about getting old, you know, about losing your eyesight a little bit. Like, I have to wear glasses all the time now to read. And it got me thinking about getting old, and sent me off on a few tangents. And if you want to hang around for a few minutes, I will tell you what I was thinking about. First of all, I was thinking about young people, small children, babies, people growing up still, and their DNA is perfect and it replicates new cells because they're still growing. And to get to about 18, 19, and the job is finished, and for another couple of years, maybe another 10 years, the cells keep, is it every 7 years they say the body renews itself? So the cells keep copying themselves and getting renewed. So it's always a latest model upgrade, if you like. And you can see that in a child's face. You look how perfect it is. It's just exactly how nature planned it. Or if you plant a plant when it first comes out and it looks absolutely perfect, it's exactly to the plan of the DNA, and it looks great. And it's only after a while when the world spots it, if you'd say, like Oscar Wilde say, it's spotted from the world. Maybe the wind tears the leaf, or a little caterpillar comes and chews something away, and perhaps some bacteria comes and makes a leaf brown. And it's same with people as well. That's all about getting old, isn't it? And the way I was thinking was, I was thinking of the DNA. You know what it looks like, this double helix thing with the genes on there, and that thing sort of molds together and then duplicates itself, like pressing itself together and duplicates. And it works really well most of the time, but it's always been attacked because it's in a super high state of entropy, because it's a real complex thing, and the universe wants to bring it down to a lower level. It wants to break it up, and there's lots of things that attack that DNA. For example, if you smoke cigarettes, then you might attack a DNA for one of your lung cells, and when it makes a copy of a new lung cell, there might be just some little tiny bit of the code missing, and then you'll get a cancerous cell, for example. And the main thing that gets us in the end is the sun, because the sun is like a big atomic bomb up there, and it's just giving out energy on all different sorts of wavelengths, and some of them are harmful to us. And for example, if a photon or some kind of particle from the sun comes down and just happens to hit that little tiny molecule in your DNA, for example, say hair on your ear, yeah, there. Well, sometimes I get a hair growing out of my ear. Yeah, never used to, but now there's a big grey hair, and I pull it out. But one day when I was out in the sun, a photon must have gone bang onto that cell there and damaged it a little bit. And when it got replicated and that bit of my ear was replaced, it got replaced by a little bit of information that said, make a hair follicle. And so there's a big hair follicle there. So it's like the script has been copied, but there's a little mistake in there, and the scene comes out a little tiny bit different. So before, where there was a perfect ear, now there's a hair growing out. And even if you live like a saint and look after yourself, eventually age will get you. Most people die around 75, 80, and that's because you've been bombarded then all your life with rays from the sun, and as they scatter your DNA, they break it, so it can't reduplicate itself, and that's when you get diseases. But that's just the way it goes. And going on a step further, you could say, ooh, you naughty sun, bad sun. But on the other hand, if you think about it, for 4.5 billion years, everything, the Earth, the planets, all came out of the sun. So they're bits of the sun that's cooled down, going around the sun. And we're sitting on these planets, so we are actually bits of the sun circulating around the sun. And that whole thing about radiation, it's just a bigger atmosphere of the sun. We're still part of the sun, we're particles of the sun, but we're just doing other things down here. So you can't ever say the sun is destroying us, because the sun has given us, we are the sun, and eventually what the sun giveth, the sun taketh back, because every single thing you do on this earth is generated by energy from the sun. All the food, all the movement, everything, life on earth is all generated by energy from the sun. And when you die and you fall back to a simpler construction, your body, and the entropy's won over for a little while, but not really, because it comes up in the little perfect kids again for another 100 years. And that tells you why the DNA is the most strongest thing in the universe that we know about, because it's the only thing that's lasted for 2.5 billion years. Everything else, even rocks, planets, all change, but DNA is remained a constant over all them years. And so all this getting old stuff anyway, it's on a personal level it's really important, because you're going to die. But if you can take your mind, and if you like kind of a scientific way of thinking, and just talk about the sun, you're not any different from the sun. You know, it's all one gig, it's all one thing, that sun, and the whole shithouse is the sun, yeah. And you're part of the ongoing thing with this sun thing. I don't know what it means, I've no idea, but you know, I can greatly believe in that, like maybe when I'm on my deathbed and thinking, okay, I'm just going back to the sun again now. I'm going back to the sun mother. And it's just depends what terms you couch it in, you know. It's just like, if you look at the Bible or most religious things, that they're all got a similar sort of thing, but sometimes they use people to make it simpler for people to understand. A lot of people, for example, in Christianity or Islam, they believe in what a load of guys wandering around the desert 2,000 years ago believed in. But for me, I like to go with the modern knowledge and just think of it all as not saying this is earth, this is me, that is sun, but all just bits of the sun. It's all relative, depends where you look from. And when you do that mega sort of generalising, then it's kind of comforting, because you realise you're not on your own. The only things that make us different is different viewpoints, really. But so getting old is a bummer. But I guess if you get old and you die happy, then it's alright, isn't it? Because you've found a way to square it all with yourself.